Comic.
All right, welcome to Comic Book Radio, everybody. I'm your host, Peter Cimetti. This is the official new time of the show, 10 o'clock Eastern. Welcome. This is episode 169, and my guest tonight is Her Majesty, Sandra Hope. Sandra Hope is here. We're going to be talking about comic book inking, the ins and outs of inking comic book art. It's going to be a good one. She says there's a chance that it's boring. There's no way there's a chance this is going to be a boring conversation. This is going to be a phenomenal conversation. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? All right. Before we get started, I want to say this is also kind of like a celebration stream because the channel, as I said 3 months ago, and this is where if I edited these shows, we would roll back. And it would be me being like, I tell you, February 26th, when I can reapply for monetization, the channel will be remonetized. Because YouTube never really told me why we were demonetized. We are remonetized. The memberships are back. And I'm going to be gifting 5 of them at some point during the show tonight. So if you're a member of the channel, thank you very much for being here, being back, and have fun with the emojis and whatnot. Before we get started, I want to say hello to those of you in the chat. We got Grape Nuka-Cola here. What's up, Grape Nuka-Cola? Good to see you, Metatron's Cube. How's it going? He's already having fun with the emojis. He's got the Rocky emoji up. I won't show it on StreamYard, but I promise you it's there. I see it on the YouTube chat. Jefferson Roswell, what's up? Jefferson says, I have an inkling that this will be a great show. I agree, it will be. James Q, how's it going? James says, woohoo, looking forward to this. He might not have said it like that, but I'm saying it for him. Indeed, it's going to be good. Shrek PMC, what's up? Says, hey, Pete, woke up with a nauseating case of vertigo this morning. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that it's gone away. But, yeah. You know, that's what you get, Shrek, for sleeping upside down. You saw it in that Batman 89 movie, didn't you? Thought it was cool. And he's all upside down because he's like a bat. Well, Shrek, I hope you're feeling better, buddy. James says, I did say it like that. Well, good. I'm glad that I translated it correctly. All right, so without further ado, let's bring her on. Again, like I said, Her Majesty, the woman of the hour. You guys, obviously, I'm thinking, have seen her fantastic work. Miss Sandra Hope. What's up, Sandra? I wish I had like a virtual red carpet to roll out, you know?
Oh, I wish I had a crown. That was great. I can sit here and just listen.
You gotta do your royal wave. How you doing?
You. No, this is great. I'm just sitting here watching, and I don't need to participate. You just keep going.
Oh, no. You must participate. You must. Philip says the Queen of Ink. Indeed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for not putting stink in there. Ink, I'll take. Yeah.
Oh, gee. Spicer McLeroy, what's up? Says, what's up, Warriors? Working on a King Cryptic collectible. Hope to show you soon, Pete. Oh, thank you, Spicer. Appreciate that, man. That'll be cool. But I'm so excited to have you on the show tonight, if you couldn't tell. I am a big fan of comic book inking. I feel like it's become kind of a lost art in the digital era of comics. I love how, like, when you're doing the traditional stuff, and I see you even doing it over all the pencil work all the time, it's like it's exhilarating. I can't imagine what it's like for you to do that, but I'm going to try to pick your brain about that tonight. So before we get started down that path, I want to go to the beginning.
Yeah.
Back to when you first saw comic books, when you first got into them. What was that?
What was that? I'll tell you my first experience with comic books. I think I was 9 or 10. My dad had a bunch of collections of the Peanuts. I mean, Snoopy, and I was fresh to the US. I didn't know how to speak or read, English or anything. And the Peanuts were, like my English tutors. So that's my introduction. And, it's all the old school stuff. So that was my first experience with comics, and I still love them today. I have my own collection now, so I don't have to steal it from my dad. But that was my first, like, real comic book experience. But the first
Wow.
superhero comic book that I've ever read was Sandman.
Oh, okay.
And
Neil Gaiman or the
Neil
Sandman from the
Gaiman.
Golden Age? Okay.
Neil Gaiman, and I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know anything about comics. And to be honest, I didn't grow up reading a lot of comics, and that was in college that I discovered it, and that was purely because I was waiting for some friends, and I was just waiting. I was in a comic shop. I was waiting, just walking through, and saw it, picked it up, and I think I just read the whole thing straight through. So.
You didn't even buy it. You just read it right there and then just put it
Oh,
on the stand.
why buy when your friend owns the shop?
Oh, well, that's even better.
Oh. And it's the same group of friends who got me into inking and in comics. So
Wow.
yeah.
Before that point, did you have a kind of a leaning towards art? Were you doing anything with it? Were you drawing? Were you painting? Anything like that?
To be honest, the art experience that I had was I just mostly in my lab books for college, and I had my chem lab book, and I always had um, you have to draw, like, sketches of your lab setup, organic chemistry. So and even biology. I always put in a little extra in all my drawings, and the main reason would be I wanted extra credit. if my lab wasn't strong or my grades weren't strong, I'm like, okay, I'll just, and I had fun doing it. And to be honest, that is really the only art experience that I had before comics. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before that point in time, what path were you on in life in terms of a career?
In terms of career, I went to UC Davis. I studied biochem, and I did an advanced study in organic chem, and I graduated with my BS. And the original plan was to either go to grad school or pharmacy school, or obviously Asian. I'm supposed to do something medical. Um, so I got my BS in biochem, and I the year after graduation I started working at an institute in San Diego for molecular studies, peptides and such. So while waiting there, hey, San Diego, Comic Studios is in San Diego. Comic Con is in San Diego, and I had friends who were artists, so I went to the convention with them, and they said, oh, well, and they were showing art because they were trying to, they were aspiring artists, so they said, well, put together some stuff to show too, because if you're just going to be waiting, you might as well have something. So they taught me what inking was about, and they said just throw some stuff together, put a little, like stapled some Xerox together and go up to the table, and that's what happened.
Wow. Did you
Here I am.
take? I'm guessing you took really quick. You must have just took quickly to the whole process of inking and the dynamics of it.
It's I I think that what it did for me was it was almost kind of like a Zen experience, and when with science is very much like art. You're to do well in it, I think you kind of have to be all in.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was either in the lab or I was in the library reading up papers and journals, and when I'm at home, I'm doing write-ups, or I am prepping for more labs or looking at results. So I think for me, art or inking, which is something I'd not done before, it was kind of like a forced break from my life in research. So uh, it was like a nice way to shift my brain around a little bit, and
Yeah, it's
so it was a nice
very
break.
meditative.
It was, yes, it is. And not that I didn't I love science as well. It was, same thing, kind of meditative, and it was fun because it's a lot of problem solving, and I've said to people before, art and science isn't so different, because people have asked, how do you shift from one, field to another? It isn't really that big of a shift because you're focusing on problem solving. You're often working by yourself, and it's a lot of like uh, I don't know. It's almost kind of like an escape. You're in your own world, but it's kind of like nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially on that level, it's like you're trying to figure out how to make the impossible possible.
And the goal is, again, in both fields, it's um, just getting a little bit farther each time. You're not like exactly looking for the ultimate goal, the ultimate answer as an artist, or even you are just moving forward a little bit at a time from day to day. And sometimes you can spend days and weeks and months and feel like you're not going anywhere, or years even. It's the
Hmm.
same in science and research. You can repeat the same thing, like, okay, that didn't quite, like, okay, how can I tweak this a little bit? How can I, like, okay, that didn't work. um what can I do to just adjust it? Sometimes it just takes such a minor adjustment to make a little difference. And again, this is where the two worlds are so similar. It's just a matter of going in there. It's a lot of sculpting, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's not the destination thing. It's the whole, just being wrapped up in the journey, and being there day after day, and being present, and just when you do make, like, even just whether it's like a tiny little, like, advance or a little step forward, and it just feels so good. It's pretty much the same in both worlds, so yeah.
it's funny too because of the fact that there is so much science within the realm of comic books, especially superhero comic books. I mean, with it being a subgenre of science fiction and all, but you have so many, especially a lot of those, the very popular characters, all have connections somewhat to science, whether they're
Yeah,
villainous or
yeah.
heroic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about the, like, mutants, and I was so excited to, as people were introducing me to characters in both DC and Marvel. To me, I was totally drawn to Beast because he was scientist, and I immediately I'm like, oh, cool. He's a scientist, and it's I think um, there is a lot of science in a little everything, whether it be, like, Superman coming from outer space. It's something to kind of plant a little seed in kids' heads. What is space like? Are there other worlds out there? Or, you're talking about, like, mutants. What makes a mutant? I think it sort of introduces a lot of science, and getting stung by a spider. Why does that change him? All these things. It comes back to biochemistry. What happens? So I think there's a lot more crossover, and whether it's comic books, or even just like painting or sculptures or such, there's science in everything, I guess.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. With that approach, with that analytical approach that's leaning towards the scientific, how do you bring that into your art and your inking specifically?
I think what I bring is the ability to just focus and just be drawn into what I'm doing at the moment, and just um, the I guess just being like, I don't know if meticulous is a good word, but just being able to silence everything else and just focus on what I'm working on right now, and being completely like absorbed into it. So uh, that I believe, exists in both worlds, and I think that that's what I feel like has helped in shifting from science to art.
Have you done experimentation with techniques and even various things to use within your inking and within your art in general?
I think all artists experiment, and as the joke, maybe even us tracers experiment. You kind of have to, because you have to bring
Her
something.
words, not mine, folks.
And I've said it before. You can call it whatever, and people will. I mean, you have to take everything with a little bit of lightness, and because you know what you do, and we make jokes about everything that we don't understand, so it's absolutely fine. And I think when people, and I've heard so much, so it's fine. You can't spend your whole time like explaining everything to everyone. Some people want to learn about it, then they go and learn a little bit about it. Some people don't want to learn, they just want to make jokes, and that's fine too if it lightens their day. But I think the whole, um, in inking, you kind of have, you have to stand out by doing a whole bunch of tiny little things that shouldn't stand out so much, but as a whole, it has to add to what was already there. Otherwise, you're not bringing anything. So you have to bring something, but it's just that little bit of subtlety of, um, make a difference, but not in such an offensive.
So it's
Uh,
like the illusion of change.
it, I think, I think I said this somewhere, and I will probably say it again. I think the role of an inker, a good inker, is to really be sort of like the penciling assist, because not all pencilers enjoy inking, and or have the patience for it. But a lot of pencilers are really good at like the storytelling, or like especially in superhero comic books, like the dynamic storytelling, and that's where all the energy goes into. But in printing, you do have to finish. It looks obviously, but more complete in ink, and all their energy goes into the like the layout, or just a quick drawing. Nobody wants to do that twice, because you lose a lot of energy in doing
Yeah.
that. So if you have a really good inker who can come in and finish that for you, in if you have a team that works well together, each can express their own voice. But I think a lot of times you have to be able to, um, finish the penciler's voice or language in a way that, the end result is not you taking over their pencils, but you finishing it. You can add your touch, you can add your thing, but not have it be such a distraction. Unless that's an agreement between the inker and the pencilers. But
Yeah. You don't
yeah,
want to bury the line,
no,
you know.
you want that, like that seamless, transition, where when you have the finished inked product, um, it's not going to take away the energy that they've put in, but it has to be finished. And sometimes when you finish something, if once like the details are in, it's in, and things don't really show in pencils, but it will show in ink. So you have to figure out like how do I accomplish what he's trying to do, but in ink. And especially if you're working over the original pencils, um, you you have to kind of commit to it, because if you're a little iffy, that's where you're
Yeah.
just gonna like start tripping and stumbling, and you do the pencils no favor, and you can kind of just absolutely kill it. So yeah, it's a tricky spot, and I think that's the stuff that people don't understand. They think, oh, it's all right there. You just go in and you just
And
follow the line.
you just, yeah.
And there's no better way of killing the pencil than you just going in there and just start tracing. You really just took the life out of it. Yeah.
Absolutely. How long did it take you to develop that confidence with the line?
I'm still working on it.
Work in progress.
Always work in progress. And I think that, I like many who start like don't really understand what it's really about. Just in the beginning, you're trying to master the tools, not mess up. So it takes a long time to really understand and to get the feel. And I think what's really helped me is if you can work over different styles, and just the versatility will require you to jump from one style to the next, and you have to be, somewhat confident to do that. It takes
Absolutely.
time.
Yeah. You can't be uncertain, and it shows every little uncertainty really
It'll,
is magnified. No
yeah,
forgiveness.
it'll kill it. You will kill, like you will kill the energy, the art that is so fast by doing that. And I know that people will, I've some of the comments in the videos as I'm inking is, some people are nervous. That also kills it. So I think that you do have to understand, um, you don't have to be the best penciler, but it does. You need to know how to draw to be confident in doing it, because there will be ghost lines there, and you do need to know what you're doing. So that's where experience comes in. So practice, figure it out. You can watch others, but I think nothing uh, teaches you more than doing. So yeah.
Absolutely. A good question here from Metatron's Cube. Wants to know, what's your favorite ink or pens?
Mm. My favorite ink, the one that I have been using, oh gosh, probably 20 years now. Ultra Draw.
Is that Rapidograph?
Yep,
That's what I use.
that's what I use. Woo woo!
It's great.
Ta-da!
I love it.
Yeah, that's what I use. And in terms of tools, and I on my YouTube channel, I have a whole thing on what I use, like all my tools. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I use Raphael brush, A404, size 2, orange tip. You can use other ones. There's like other ones, Winsor Newton, I think Sharp, or so it's whatever works for you. And I also use a Hunt 102. I'm digging for all my tools now. A Hunt 102, and I have many holders. I have this.
Oh, very
Where's the
nice.
camera? I
Hold on, let
have
me
this old one
put
that
you
I
full
got from
screen.
Amazon a long time ago. There we go. And it's nice because this is adjustable, like the brown plastic holder. It's always a little loose, but this you can just tighten around your nib. So you can use different types of nibs on there, and that helps. So I started with that, and it's super light. Where's the camera? It's
Very
super
nice.
light. And I have, of course, a little grippy thing here.
That's a technical term.
It is totally a technical term. You actually need to learn all the terminology before
Little
you
grippy
can.
thing. Make sure you guys get that.
Yep. And I also have this cool holder, works similarly to that
Oh, I like that.
metal
That's
one. Yeah,
that's
this
a
is a
good
fancy
looking.
one from
Wow.
Ink Slinger Pens. So this is actually a lead holder. Press here. It should come out. And what's great about this is if you're traveling and you have an awesome nib that you want to protect the tip, I just reverse it. You're good. There you go.
Oh,
Take
fantastic.
it with you. And it's such an easy, quick release. So, like I said, it's a lead holder. It's a clutch holder. And you can use it with your nib. There's no rules, you guys. It's art.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hope you guys are taking notes at home. If not,
Yeah.
this is a video that will remain up. You can
Oh,
reference it
okay.
at any time.
I was going to say, if it's live, you missed it.
That's fantastic. James wants to know, do you think inkers get enough respect?
I think people don't get enough respect, whatever you do.
Good answer.
Whether it be inkers or the guy who picks up your trash or your landscaper or your cooks or your waitress, I think good people who are working hard, sometimes they don't, we forget to give respect to hard workers, whatever they do. That's it. And it's, it's a terrible, like, overlook, I guess. We go on about our business, and sometimes, like I said, we want to make silly jokes about people, their careers, and or even what they do or don't do. I just think, especially, I don't know, nowadays, I think that we could do with a little bit more respect for each other. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100% agreed. James also says inkers make or break the final image. They can elevate the drawing or they can destroy it. Yeah, I agree.
They can absolutely destroy it, and sometimes they don't get fired. If they do it fast enough for the editors, they get to keep the job. Unfortunately, they might lose the penciler that they're working with, but I think that, yeah, it's very sad, and I hear pencilers get really crushed by being teamed up with the wrong inker. Sometimes it's a style thing too. It's not necessarily good or bad. Sometimes it's a bad match. Sometimes it's a bad inker. I think mainly because that inker themselves might not know what a good inker is, or the editor who's matching them don't know what good inkers do. I think that's the first step, and I think that's maybe first misstep. Because if you have a really good inker or a really good match, inker penciler match, you can have a really awesome team, and that can only help. And I think what has happened is that people, inkers, editors included, think that it's enough to just make the lines, turn in, trace it or redo it all in ink, and that's inking. I think there's a lot that's kind of missing. You can probably compare it to, I'll say like a good actor and a bad actor. Say a good actor, like a bad actor is, I'll just pretend to be this person. A really good actor just becomes that person. So I think similarly, I gotta stop saying that word.
Good acting is not acting. It's
Yeah,
that kind of
so
a thing.
in the same way, like an inker, like you can go in there, I'm just gonna trace everything in ink, or I'm taking this all in, and this is gonna be redrawn in ink without changing it. And that's not such an easy thing to do. Like redraw it, finish it, detail. Sometimes you have to make sure the dimensions, you keep the dimensions, especially how busy comic book pages are these days. All the details that's in there, like I've seen even good pencilers who ink themselves. When you see the ink result, it's like, oh, it's so heartbreaking because it was so good, and once it's inked, like everything, it's lost. You just have a whole page of stuff. And
do you feel like, what, do they lose the depth of field? Do they lose it flattens out,
they
stiffens?
lose the depth. They lose the energy. They lose just the whole impact of it all. I think sometimes certain things have to be a little more subtle than others, because if you're looking, I mean, comic books are small, and if you have all that detail and you flip through a comic, what am I supposed to look at? Something's supposed to, you can't have like a stage just full of people all the time. You know, you I think you lose an opportunity to really have like um like, I don't know, like the star or the feature or the actor or what's
Yeah.
happening, something that's like quick storytelling. And some, like you could have like something that's really beautiful that, like that should have a little more focus on it, but because of the amount of detail, and you can still accomplish that with all the details. But I think you have to be able to, again, back to the subtlety stuff, you have to be able to push some things back or lighten it, or frame it somehow. You use all that's on the page um, to use it beneficially rather than as a complete distraction. It's just, that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think, like, you can lose so much in all that work that you've done. Like, oh, you lost it in the inks.
Yeah, there needs to be that hierarchy in terms of the importance of the composition,
Yeah,
and you really could lose that with the inks. I've seen that happen a lot where all of a sudden now it just looks like a coloring book.
yeah,
Everything's like the same line weight, everything just, there's no focal point. You don't
mhm,
understand what's the important aspect to focus on here.
yeah,
It hasn't been, certain things haven't been blocked out. Maybe there's not enough black, maybe there's not enough, like I said, the line weight differentiation. So
yeah,
there's a lot of things that can go completely
yeah.
utterly wrong. And then the opposite, I've seen people that were like, okay, pencilers, and then they get a great inker to come in there and they make them look good.
Oh, and this is, yeah, and honestly, this is where I think sometimes, if you have a really good inker, it's, especially say, I think inkers who have been around, more experienced inkers, we've been asked, well, okay, we have this new artist, could really use your help, come in there and pull it all together, make them shine. And that's not a new thing. Like, of course, yeah, that's my job. um and I think that um when you do your job so well, you kind of disappear. That's kind of a good and bad thing. Um, and but when people don't stop to think about, oh my goodness, maybe it was the inker that made the difference there. I don't
Mm.
think that's like an instinct for most people. But if and it's gone the other way. It's definitely gone the other way, where you have a bad inker who will come in and just kill it, and that pencil's like, I'm never working with another inker again. This goes back to I was trying to say that it's kind of sad also to hear the pencilers don't ever want to work with inkers, because they just, like, they butchered my work. You got a bad inker. You got a bad inker, and your editor unfortunately didn't know that, or didn't
Do you think
consider that.
it's like in sports where they're playing people out of position, like not to their strengths, that kind of a thing?
Yeah, yeah. And I think a lot could be benefit from knowing um who, what good inkers bring. And like I said, I think that it's, so many pencilers have had bad experience because editors don't know better. And I get it, editors of some inkers or other artists don't know good inkers either. So I think that, well, at this point, I don't know. I don't think the industry will ever go back, because as is, I know there are, budget cuts. There aren't as many jobs available for inkers. Definitely traditional. That's very, very, very limited. More digital.
It's such a
And
shame because traditional inks are spectacular.
I think so. Not, I'm not talking about myself, but I've seen some beautiful stuff where I will stand there and just, like, if you ever get a chance to look at originals, you really, really, really go to shows and look at originals, because um, it's way different from the printed stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you get to see so much more like details in there, and you get to see how even in on like a busy page, how like a good inker can just it will all still be there, but maybe use like a couple little subtle things where all that stuff can still be present on the page, but what do you pull forward and how you do it. It could be, as simple as like light misting. It could be simple, like stuff like, I don't know, all kinds of little inker tricks, line weights, or just how
So
you,
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
render slightly differently or in different direction, or, all that little stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. We got some great questions here in the chat. Spicer
No.
McLeroy says J. Lee inks are some of my favorite. Who are some of your favorite inking artists?
Really?
Present company excluded. Not you. Can't say you.
I cannot?
Can't say you. That's understood.
No, I am
Top of the
not my
list, Sandra Hope.
I am not my favorite inker. In fact, I can't go back and look at some of my old stuff because I just want to fix it. Uh, but obviously, I'm not super. Let's see. Being from Wildstorm, of course, I'm going to go to the people that I know, that I've seen, that I've watched, and having inked some of the same people as these other inkers, you grow an appreciation for what they do. Obvious answer. I think Scott's pretty awesome. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's because I've inked Jim a couple of times, and each time it is torture. Not and it's not like he's missing anything. There are I've inked looser
Here comes
pencilers.
the dirt.
No,
What's so bad about inking Jim Lee?
it's not bad. Because there's just something about the way he draws that he inks himself well, and Scott inks him well. Uh, and I think the way Scott, and everyone's like, oh no, like so. No, you have to appreciate the way Scott inks Jim, because how I see it is that when Scott inks Jim, I think, of course, that's how you ink it. There's no other way. I can make the prettiest lines. I can make everything perfect, but it still has like that natural feel to it. It's not labored. I think when I ink Jim, it's labored in
Hmm.
because, and I know this because I don't know, it's because in my head I think it should look like this. But then when I actually put the stuff down, it does not look like this that I had, imagined or pictured. But when I see how Scott accomplishes it, it's just so natural. It's like, of course, that's it's natural, and there have been other people who ink Jim well too, but I think they're a good pair because like I said, Scott makes it look so natural. Their
Oh
styles
yeah.
go together. Yeah.
Yeah,
um
they're a great pair.
yeah, and I mean, Jonathan is great, Jonathan Glapian, and again, this goes back to, if you've inked some of the same pencilers that these people have inked, you grow an appreciation for what they do because you look at what they do over the same pencils, and you look at it with admiration. It's like, oh, very nice. I didn't think about it that way, or I didn't, like I definitely couldn't have executed it that well. I think Jonathan is wonderful, and he's very confident in what you do. And again, I think good inks come from experience, confidence, good knowledge of drawing and art itself, and just like making the end result look so like natural and not labored and not dead, not lose any energy, which I think energy is a big thing, obviously in comics. So
Oh yeah.
if an inker can carry it through and and inkers have added more energy to, like, oh yeah, this is a pretty good, page. And once the inker's done with it, it's like, whoa, boom. That's a good inker. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, similarly to this, who has been really difficult for you to ink and who has been a joy? And if the person that was really difficult for you to ink in terms of, and I don't mean like personality wise or anything like that, but their work. If you don't want to name names on that level, it's okay. I understand. But I'm very curious.
Well, I've already named one. And it's not because it's so difficult to ink. I think it's because I make it difficult.
Yeah, you have a different thing that you're setting out. I think you're trying to look like Scott Williams inking
and
Jim
that's the
Lee.
thing, is like, I'm trying, and I think you just nailed it right there. It's not that I'm trying to look like Scott. I'm trying to not look like Scott in
Oh,
Jim.
so you're, yeah, okay. So
So
then
that's
you're,
that other level of difficulty. How do you make it look good, not look like Scott, and still have it look like Jim?
but when
It's
you're
I
like,
mean,
it looks like it should look that way, it's, you should just kind of lean to that, but then you don't want to lean into that. I get it. Cause it's like, you don't want to feel like you're aping him, but
and
when
you
it
don't
feels like there's no other way to do it, it's,
you're trying to find that other secret path, but because you cannot, you cannot out Scott. So how else am I going to do this? And not, yeah, it I think the most difficult part of inking is trying to do so much with such little room, like to
mm,
kind of, like, you know I don't know, maneuver through. You
yeah, there's
have to
not a
make
lot
an
of wiggle
impact
room.
with little things.
Yeah. You don't
But
want to
yeah,
dominate it. And all of a sudden the penciler's like, I didn't draw that.
you can, yeah, and that's the thing. So you can't do that. And even if, let's say you have, because there are sometimes, pencilers leave things out. Sometimes it's, like sketchy, or sometimes it gets faded, or you do have to pull it together. You're not always going to have that information, so you do have to pull it together. But when you do it, you have to do it in the penciler's language. I think that's the respect that you have to have for the pencils. Even if it's like a new penciler, you still have to try to figure out their language and finish it in their language. And I use that terminology because I don't know of any other way of putting it. But I think every penciler has their a language, and I think to um, respect what they're trying to do, you kind of have to try to understand that and try to finish it that way the best that you can. But at the same time, you as an inker, you have your own style and your own natural thing,
Yeah.
because if you try too hard to be this person, you're not going to be in anyone's head. So you can't think exactly like another person. That would drive a person insane. So I think the best that you can do is try to understand what they're doing and finish it in the best way that you can, in a way that it allows you to still be excited about the work, and to because if you overthink it, again, you're gonna kill it. It's gonna look labored, and you're not doing anyone any favors, not the penciler, not yourself, not the art, not the and it's just like the perfect compromise between understand what they do and then giving yourself the freedom to do what you do. So yeah.
You really do have to have a grasp on like this psychological, philosophical approach to being a good inker. Because
I
you're
think
kind of caught between worlds. You're caught between the world that you want to live in and you want to have your style known and present, and but you also don't want to override the style that's there.
yeah, that's at least that's how I think of it. That's what I try to do. Everyone could be a little different. Might have inkers who are a lot more interested in, like, this is what I do, and my style. I'm gonna go crazy, and if you don't want me to ink you, don't bring those pencils here. But everyone's a little different. I think that as as an artist, yourself, you have to be able to have freedom so you can enjoy the work too. And that's the only way, I think, to do your best. That's the only way to produce really good, product, is if you actually care about it rather than just. I don't know if you can just um, just phone it in. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that you can really phone it in and last. And I think that if you have to do that, it might not be a thing for you. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that you can apply it to anything in life too.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's anything in anything that you do, whatever, career that you use. And I think it's such a meticulous kind of job. You're not going to last if you don't enjoy it or figure out what it's really about. And you have to be able to find out, if it's something that draws you in, or is it just torture for you. It's you kind of have to enjoy the whole, like, you know puzzle game,
Yeah,
problem solving in,
absolutely.
yeah, part
Yeah,
of
because
it.
you're going to spend a lot of time and energy doing that, and if you're just the idea of it sounds horrible to you to do that, you don't
Yeah,
want to put your time into it. You don't want to
yeah.
have that energy and focus and effort. It's like, well, why are you doing that?
Why
And
do
there's,
it
I
to
mean, there's a
yourself?
lot of people that do that
Yeah.
with their lives, and it's sad.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. Why do that to yourself? Because there's no matter who you are, no matter how you were born, what you have, you have uh I don't know, natural tendencies. You get to know yourself before you pick a career, or I think, I mean, obviously today more than any time before, people are exploring what they can do to allow themselves to live as they are and how to make a career doing it. People are traveling and making money. People do art and make money. People are, do hair and makeup and make money.
yeah,
People are really, I think, it's a level of freedom that we haven't given ourselves before, because we are seeing possibilities. But no matter what you do, what you choose, I mean, dancing, all that stuff. But no matter what you choose, if you want to do well in that field, or you just know it's going to take work, and it's going to take extra hours. It's going to take a lot of dedication from you. So pick something that you're going to enjoy, something that you're gonna, you that makes you want to come back and figure it out. Money not an issue, or everything else excluded. What is it that draws you in, that makes you want to come back day after day after day? And next is, okay, now how do I share it with the world? How do I make it into something that I can, like, support myself, financially, and do that for the rest of your life. And I think,
absolutely.
yeah, people dedicate years to college, 4, 6, 8, whatever, but dedicate those years into, like, finding figuring yourself out a little, and you're still going to have to do work after that, but it will be different. I think it'll be better. So take a little time. I think that, um,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of pressure on people all the time to figure everything out now, now, now. And then once you've figured it out, and you haven't really figured it out,
yeah,
go be the best at it. Because if you're not the best at it, you're the worst at it.
yeah,
And that mindset, I find, is not only it cripples a lot of people, but it also prevents them from growing into the person they want to be.
yeah.
And then a lot of the time, I think when people talk about like a midlife crisis or something like that, I think that's the heart of a lot of that is people that are kind of almost like forcing themselves to live a lie
Hmm.
day in and day out. And
Yeah.
eventually it hits them one day that they're like, what have I done?
I hate this. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's unfortunate because instead of people getting encouraged down a path, no matter how fantastical it is, I don't care. Because even if a little kid's like, I want to be a baseball player,
Yeah.
and the parents like, well, you know, you can't really be a baseball player because you're just not that good. Maybe say, you can do that, absolutely. Just make sure you put your effort into it every day,
Yeah.
practicing it. Put a
Yeah.
lot of time, energy, and effort into it. Learn as much as you possibly can. Get better and better and better.
Yeah.
You know, and it could be anything. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
be anything extraordinary on that level or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
people, if there's one person at all that's doing it in the history of time ever,
Yeah.
you can't say, well, you know, I mean, that was just that one person. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's other things that people can do all the time that no one else ever did them before. Like
Yeah.
300 years ago, there wasn't baseball.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So people can, it's about applying yourself, having that belief, and really, like you said, giving it that dedication.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to get out of telling me who you really like to ink.
Right. Yeah, well, we kind of went off on the
Oh, yeah, we do wonderful tangential stuff here, but I try to bring it back
you
sometimes.
do that very good, because I'll keep drifting. Um, who and not to be, like I said, gym is a good challenge. It's not that I don't like it. It's very challenging. It's like, I've said it every time. But challenging in a way like, I want to go back and keep trying. It's that's me. Like if I know that something is really hard, is really challenging, I'm like, okay, I need to go back until I get it. But I, I have to say I've been really lucky because the folks that I've worked with have been um, very very kind, very encouraging, which makes it easy for me to say, that person was really easy to work with, and they're all challenging in different ways. Like I said, there's such a um, like a style diversity. I mean, I started inking Crimson with Umberto, and I went, I inked Doug Mankey, and I've inked Jim. I've inked JR, who is such a sweet person. He's so wonderful. And I'll keep saying, like, he will, and the difficult, and he's difficult because I think it's,
Ramita Jr., difficult?
yes, Tomamita Jr. Not difficult, but it's a good challenge because he's very stylized, and people might assume that it's simple. It's just he usually draws like
Mm,
bulky and large, simple lines, but sometimes that's the most difficult because
yeah.
he has very specific style. Don't mess with it. You can't mess with it, and and it is so when it's so like like you don't have a whole lot of distractions, you have no place to hide. So you have to be really confident when you ink a style that's that simple. um and I don't mean like simple, but like a style that isn't like all complex and crazy. um
Yeah, it's like the difference between drawing Superman and drawing Batman.
mhm.
You can hide a lot with Batman.
You can, yeah,
But
there's
Superman is
different.
like big and bold and he's out there. He's basically a naked dude with a cape,
Yeah, you
essentially.
have a lot of this. You have a lot of distractions that you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah, Superman has to be perfect. Um, don't you can't mess with Superman either. But no, but John is so wonderful to work with. He's very encouraging, and okay, he'll send in the email. You're doing great. He's like, "Come on, Sandy, you got the." It's just he's like the most wonderful cheerleader when you're working with him. Um, and Andy has been So, if he doesn't like anything that I've done, he's been very gracious about it. And he's like, no, it looks great. Go for it. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. He's like, go crazy. So he's very, very, um, you know, generous in that way, giving you room to do, stuff. He's like, oh, he'll make little side notes. I'd like to see this and that. And, so and then I'm like, okay, he wants me to, so that's your part to experiment with. So what do you think of this? How is this good? It's always perfect, good. So he leaves you room to do your thing, and he encourages you to, I mean, go out of. I mean, he's asked me to do like a lot of things I've learned to do is because of like maybe his request. I'm like, I've never done that before. I'll have to figure it out, and he's been really good about it. Yeah, but I think that, oh my goodness, Arthur Adam is just the sweetest person, and I inked him before I knew I had a clue. I was still at Wildstorm.
Oh man, one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, he's so awesome, and I inked Gen 13 Monkey Man O'Brien, and I was Alex Garner's assistant, and I guess I had helped out with some stuff, and so I got a chance to ink Arthur there, and it, like I said, before I knew who's who, I didn't know who anyone was new to comics really, and I think it was great that I didn't know who he was. Uh, because
No
it was
intimidation factor.
no, none. And I think that's another thing. And I've said this, at another time, where I think not knowing anything, like coming in, starting comics with fresh art, not knowing who anyone is, any kind of like, level of intimidation wasn't really there for me. It was just figuring out the art of inking, or how to ink, figuring out tools, figuring out. It was just a nice way to kind of like isolate you know all that other, huge intimidation factors. It's just me and this page here. What do I do? How do I do this? So yeah, it's, it was nice to be naive.
Definitely had to help out in that situation, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Metatron's Cube wants to know, do you use a light board or printed blue line? Or something else?
I ink right on the originals. So there you go.
Nerves of steel.
I think that, and I guess, I mean, in the old days, that's not that unusual, but
No.
now, like, so many, there are so many, blue lines, and people ink over blue lines, and you never actually touch the original pencils. Um, I hate blue lines, to be honest. I don't like them. Um, I, it's, yeah, originals, and I prefer to not. I kind of don't do lines. If I have to, if it's a special case, I will do that. In this, I guess it's out, or it'll be out soon now. The last set of covers I did, with Ramona, um, I did ink over blue lines. It was, I don't know if she knew or she felt that was her, her retirement cover set, and she wanted to keep the pencil, so we said, oh, we can do it over blue lines, and I will make special, in special cases like that, I'll do that, and yeah. So otherwise, I prefer originals, especially if it's like something that's really busy. That way I don't have to constantly, reference the pencils, go back to the blue line, reference the pencils. It's hard for me to really get in the zone that way. And using brush, the blue ink that's printed kind of repels the my ink on the brush, because it's very soft, and it kind of beads up. So it's yeah, I can't really like just get in the zone and just go with blue lines. So
Now, do you erase the pencils?
I do erase the pencils. Yes.
What do you use for an eraser?
I use of course it's Faber Castell. I think. Here we go. Camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've experimented with many others. I think I like this one because it is it's softer, um, and especially if you have like a really busy page. Oh, erasing is not fun. Erasing is not fun. It could be it's harder on my hand than inking.
Mm,
So yeah, so it could be a pain. But the that eraser is soft enough, and it doesn't. Some erasers uh, will streak.
yeah.
Unfortunately, it'll catch the ink, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
will yeah streak, and nothing worse than having like a nice solid streak across the page that is super busy, and you're going in touching up like crazy, or an eraser that's so strong it takes the it removes like most of the ink, so you have to go back and re-ink again. But that I find to be the best in not taking off the ink, and and it's soft. So yeah,
Oh, I'll have to give that a try. I've been using like
yeah.
kneaded erasers my whole life.
I think Scott uses the kneaded, and that's the other good option. It works well too. I think that it's if you need a little, something that's a little bit stronger, yeah, you can use like a combination too. Because I have both this and a hideous, dirty kneaded eraser. Yeah, but if you need something that's a little bit stronger, because sometimes you have really stubborn lines, and I think that some pencilers are really hard lead, and it
Mm,
carves into the page. So you really need something stronger to really get after the pencils that's embedded in there. Once you have it ready to scan, that could, uh, get in the way with the scans.
absolutely.
Yeah, having the shadow.
Rachel wants to know, this is a good question. What are your thoughts on digital inking?
Um, I don't do it myself, and I think no. Okay, uh, I'm not a real techie girl. I don't enjoy it as much, and I have my little Apple iPad that I've experimented with. I'll do drawing stuff on there, but I don't. I mean, yeah, I guess you just convert it to ink, and that's inking. But I don't enjoy it as much. It's not as much fun for me. Um, but I think for publishing it, for time and speed, I know there's a lot of digital inkers. I think as long as you do the digital inking with the mindset of of traditional inking, and bringing those skills, but still using a different tool, I think that's great. But you know for production or for publishing, you do what you got to do. I personally don't enjoy it. I enjoy the traditional much more. But yeah,
I hear you. I agree.
yeah.
I agree. I hate all the digital stuff.
I'm
But
not.
it's like, some people make it look good.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
enjoy
Well,
it. I don't like to do it, but yeah, I
yeah.
love the traditional stuff. There's something about it. There's something borderline magical
I
about
yeah.
it
No,
to do the traditional art.
I'm with you. I think the whole to having, maybe I'm old school, but I love having a piece of art. I love looking at it and seeing like kind of the spontaneity of it all, because you can,
Yes.
it's
The
it
happy
has,
accidents, as
yeah,
Bob Ross would say.
it feels more like you can experiment more. You have a little more like fun and freedom. Anytime I think like digital or it feels almost like you're trying to make this perfect thing, and you can't. Now you can make perfect lines. If it's not perfect, you can, move it around, or you can tweak it, or you can have it assist you into making the perfect curve or the perfect line, resize and move. You can do that. It's very practical for commercial reasons, obviously. But I think in terms of like fun for the artist, I feel that it's I don't know, there's something, something just came in
Yeah.
between you and the art itself. So it's like you have a translator. It doesn't have the same feel.
I love the perfect imperfections. It's very human.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, it really is fun. It has more personality. Um, but everyone's a little different. Some people prefer that beautiful, crisp, sharp,
Yeah, yeah.
Perfect, thing. But
Oh.
being a girl, I'll do this. I'll compare it to like uh, a natural girl and one that is
Again, she's saying it, not me.
enhanced.
I might happen to agree, but she's saying it.
I'm saying normal girls, we're not perfect to look at, but we're a lot of fun.
I can't disagree there.
But yeah, hey, you know what? It's
Truth to power.
you have freedom to do whatever. If that's what you like, that's what you like, and if that's what you enjoy, that's what you enjoy. Yeah.
We got Ken Rocafort here. Mitographia says, only few inked my work, and Sandra was one. Green Lantern's promotion at DC Licensing.
Yes.
And says, thank you, Sandra.
He's awesome. Kenneth is also very, very awesome. I follow him and I watch everything that he does. And yeah, we only got to work with each other on, and this is back in the days where I'm like, whatever you have for me to ink, I would love to ink it. And that's a nice introduction to a lot of pencilers that I wouldn't have had an opportunity to work with. And Kenneth is definitely one of them. And it's just, you're beautiful, Kenneth. And he was so sweet. We only met once at San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I met Kenneth once at it was a convention in Worcester, Massachusetts. And he was so nice.
Yes. Nice.
Very
I love meeting
nice
nice people in the industry. I mean, and there are many. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's always good when they're super talented too.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, this industry is insane.
Sometimes they're super talented and not so nice.
Yes. Yes. I've had experiences with. We kind of. I call that like they just want their space, and I will happily honor. Yep.
Metatron wants to know: is Kenneth's art hard to ink? How was that experience?
I'll say that Kenneth, was it hard? No, it wasn't hard, but it was a lot of fun. It was. I think Kenneth introduced a lot of like, I don't know. He plays around with at least when I was inking him, like all these lines that like that. I don't know if many other people have done, maybe Travis differently, but Kenneth introduced me to playing around with a lot of like fun sets of lines that went in different directions, but he never lost it. It didn't go, because sometimes I think pencilers lose it. They go a little crazy with using lines, and if you don't use it well, I think you kind of lose everything. But Kenneth uses them so well, and just in different sets of lines that work together so well. And I think that as an inker, you want to follow that lead, and if you follow it and it kind of clicks, it's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. All right, so at this point in the show, I'm going to gift 5 memberships to you guys. I don't know who it's going to, but here it is. So 5 of you guys are getting memberships. There we are. All right, congrats to the Introspect M, Rachel Brinkley, What Geeks Do Network, and Jefferson Roswell, and Cole King. There you go. I got 5 more to gift this month. have fun for the month with the emojis.
Congrats, you
And
guys.
I'm also going to, you got a little bit more time, 15, 20 minutes or so?
Me?
Yep.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to put the link in the chat for anybody who wants to join.
Sure.
If you guys would like to have a old-fashioned comic book radio show. Sometimes we don't have a guest that wants to interact. Sometimes we don't have enough time. Sometimes I like to just, when it's a first-timer on the show, I just like to have a conversation with them. But it's been a really great show, great conversation. And if you guys in the chat want to join in, don't be shy. There's a link. You guys can come on in one at a time.
Yeah.
And if you got a question or comment for Sandra, there you
Bring
go.
it.
So there's a link.
Yeah. I'm trying to be better at this, you guys. This is my practice too. I'm trying to be better. I don't go to conventions, so this is your chance.
Well, there you go, guys. There you go. Don't just leave me alone to talk to Her Majesty.
Or me. Yeah.
Come on
can't
board.
hold down the show alone. Come on, you guys are there. Let's hear it.
So there's the link, guys. You can feel free to pop in. We'll be on for about another 20 minutes or so. Now, as we're waiting for people to work up the courage to come on here, I do have a couple questions for you regarding what it is that you're currently up to and what is down the line for you. So current projects that you're in the midst of right now, what are you currently working on, and what is currently maybe out and available for people that they can go check out?
I'm currently working on getting to bed at a decent time. That's my ongoing project.
How's that going?
It's a big, big project. It's very challenging. Yes. So
I feel that. That is seriously. That's a daily battle.
It is. I'm kidding, but I'm not. Honestly, I think the years of working in comics with deadlines or limited sleep, or or like all-nighters, many years of maybe 3 hour sleep at night. I think it kind of messed me up to where now, like, I'm actually doing pretty good with sleeping now. It feels so great. But for a while there, I had a hard time going to sleep because I feel like, okay, I have to get up now. I mean, after an hour or two, I'm like, okay, I need to get up and get back to work. So when I think it's been a couple years now, I've had wonderful light schedule to where I'm not really doing much other than trying to take care of my health. Take care of your health, guys. seriously. Don't forget that part, because this industry is a little cuckoo.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. And I think that, and I've joked that I think there is not a whole lot of ladies in this industry because you do sacrifice sleep, among other things. But right now, I am actually just doing maybe like special projects come up. Last year was an interesting year for me personally, so it wasn't a lot of work. Although I had a couple really, really nice offers or requests. I wish I could have. I really, really wish I could have, but I couldn't. It didn't work out. Two wonderful gentlemen approached me separately, different times. I would have loved to have said yes to both of them. Didn't work out. Just want to take this opportunity, if they're out there. Thank you, guys. You don't know how much that meant to me. Great project, great guys. But so like I said, I couldn't do it, personal reasons. But right now, I think I'm just trying to, just like other folks who are in this industry, maybe figuring out my way through, not get back to the old schedule that I had been working for all those years, and maybe exploring my own little stuff.
Oh, you're gonna make your own book? You got your own book in the works?
I think I need to.
I think you do.
Yeah, I think I would love to. I think it just comes down to, being brave enough to just do it, get it out there, and just let it be what it will be. So yeah, I would love to. And I had said this to um, Hank Canals. He was our office manager at Wildstorm for a while, and when he first came to the studio, he had individual conversations with everyone who was there. And one of the questions he asked was, "What would you like to do in?" I think was it a time thing, but like a goal. I said, I think one day would be nice to write and draw and ink and do a whole book all by myself.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Go
Still
for
goal.
it. Do
Yeah.
it. Do it. Do it.
Yeah.
The chat wants you to do it. Kenneth wants you to do it. Everybody here. Sheldon wants you to do it.
I never know what I'm going to do, you guys. I don't know either. It's a mystery to me from day to day, from year to year. It's all my whole life. It's been a surprise to me too. So who knows what's going to happen?
I think you'd have a tremendous support behind you for that book when you do put it out.
Honestly, I think that's one of the it's a huge driving force for me. I'm not. I mean, social media is what it is, but had I not gone on social media, I don't think I would have had that opportunity to get to know so many people, to have so many wonderful, kind folks supporting me and still support, all the goofiness, and it's not always work stuff that I put out on there, but people have been very, very kind, and it's so encouraging to me, and it makes me feel like, okay, I can do this, or I can do more. What else can we do? So it's exciting, and I really credit all the wonderful, kind supporters out there for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see when you do put that out, and I'm saying when.
Me too.
When.
I can't wait either. It's so exciting.
Now, are you taking commission work as well?
I have been, but I'm doing it very slowly. I initially was not, but that's the other thing I would like to do too, is I would love to do more commissions because I've mainly been working for DC and Wildstorm. I've not really touched onto any Marvel characters. And the only way for me to do that is, I think, just, through commissions. So I'm taking them on as time permits. And right now I'm trying not to take on too many more while I still have a few in my inbox. So yeah, just yeah. So, but I'd like to. I think that's something that I can do as I'm working on growing. Yeah.
So humble, so humble. Comic Book Radio, that's me, says, come on in. There's the link, guys. If you want to come on here and talk to Sandra, you got a question, a comment, even if you just want to stop in for a moment and say hello and then go, that's cool too.
Yeah.
But there's a link. Feel free. We got a couple questions here in the chat here. Captain Goodnight says, what are the ways you can tell an inker struggled or wasn't comfortable doing work?
I think it's obvious because because I don't know of a better word for it, but it looks labored and it looks very, it's doesn't have a whole lot of energy and a little too reserved. And I think well, I don't know if a lot of people get the opportunity to see the pencils and then the ink version. I think social media has kind of helped with that because some of us have posted like before and after, inks, pencils, and then inks. But I think that when, and it's understandable because I do too. You're a little too intimidated or too like super conservative in inking that you don't want the penciler to hate it, or you don't want to do anything wrong, so you play it too safe. That's, I think, where maybe that you can see the struggle. But like I said, it's so it's such minute details that maybe if you're just like a reader or just someone who doesn't really understand it, you won't necessarily see it, but I think the pencilers will see it, because they know what they put down, and they'll know that, they see what comes back. So yeah, and if it's just a little, yeah, too labored, I think sometimes it's like struggling.
For someone struggling with building that confidence, because a lot of the time it's not that, obviously. Sometimes it's just they don't mesh. But
Yeah.
someone who's kind of a first timer, or they've been doing this for a short amount of time,
Mhm.
what kind of stuff do you recommend for them to build up and become a more confident inker?
I think the number one thing to do is, first of all, you definitely need to uh, look at different styles, and look at the penciler that you might be, a style that you think that you would like to ink over, and maybe what other inkers have inked in that style, and get an idea of what it is that they do. Um, and but allow yourself to do your thing. Like I said, I'm not gonna, I, I'm I I can't be Scott Williams. I can't be, anybody else but me. And me trying to be anyone else. I mean, just starting off, it's just like drawing. You find people that you like, you find people that you appreciate, you find something that you think you would enjoy, and then, you know, start there, and then allow yourself, that whatever intuition that you might have, allow yourself to entertain that. And you will grow more, that way as yourself. And but find things that inspire you, that gets you excited. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like, like an inker either. A penciler, a colors, or just art itself. What gets you like excited, that makes you want to sit down and, you know just do whatever, sit down and play. I think the number one thing is like, allow yourself the freedom to play, and not try to force perfection, because I think that's too restricting. So I think just allowing yourself to play. And we have so much art available. Print out stuff. You can, you know, light box it, blue line it, digital, do whatever works
Absolutely.
for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have all, like, way back, like you'd have to look through Wizard magazine, make Xerox copies, and then you light box, you know, the inks, or you transfer somehow. So there are many more steps. Now I think, there's so much available, because artists are always like posting stuff, and you have a lot of stuff that you can play with, a lot of pencils that you can pull up, and a lot of inks, a lot of YouTube channels.
Oh yeah, there's a tremendous amount of tutorials and helpful information out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we're all, I mean, I think so many people are sharing. It's like, it's free education that you've never
Yeah.
had before. There's no excuses. Get on there. There's like, everything's available for free, really, Yeah.
Absolutely. For
You don't have to do
practically,
art school.
I mean, not even just in the realm of comics, for like anything.
Everything.
Yeah, I
Anything.
was like looking at something, how to like fix the sink the other day. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to YouTube and watch someone fix this problem, and then mirror it and
Yeah.
learn.
I honestly, yeah, there's a constant, like every little thing I'm thinking, someone's done it on YouTube.
Yeah,
But there's like so much information, some good, some bad. So I mean, obviously, make sure you do your research and look at more than one source in anyway. But yeah, there's just there's so much, yeah, at your
totally.
fingertips.
Rachel, where did you go, Rachel? I was just about to put you on here. Rachel
Rachel,
popped in
come
about
back.
30 seconds ago or so, and I was just about to put her on. Rachel, if you come back, I'll put you on.
Come back, Rachel.
Yeah, come back. There's the link. And Agent Cub goes, can't be Scott Williams, not with that attitude. Well,
I
the
don't
thing
want to
is,
be Scott, and Scott
yeah,
doesn't want to be me.
no one should ever want to be anybody else. Be
No.
yourself and lean
Yep.
into
I
what makes
can't
you
out
uniquely you.
Scott. And Scott is never going to be this chick.
Absolutely. It's okay. Well, I'm sorry we couldn't bring you on, Rachel, but thank you for the attempt. I appreciate it. And
Next time.
Introspect M says I fixed my car's air conditioning by watching a 12-year-old kid show me how.
Yeah,
See?
12-year-old
Look at
kid
that.
from India.
You know what he's talking about?
I don't know, but a
Oh,
lot of
okay. I was gonna say, like, wow, what's going on?
I mean, I learned how to plant some pineapples, and it was through several channels from
There
India,
you
so it
go.
worked.
I made a great bread, I fixed my
Yes,
car door.
yep,
It is incredible. Every single time there's a problem, I'm like, what are they talking about on YouTube to help me out with this?
yep, yep,
And
yep.
I find it.
We
But
all
yeah,
share, everyone shares.
absolutely.
Don't pay for education, it's free.
Now, on this channel, sometimes we dive into the paranormal. I enjoy that topic a great deal. We don't need to dive in too much. We only have a couple minutes for this. But Sheldon does have a question for you. Wants to know, have you ever seen a ghost? And then also asks, when did you start your YouTube channel? Both of them obviously related questions.
I have seen a ghost.
There you go. See, this is why I love this topic.
I have. I was a kid, and well, actually more than once. So hey, people believe what they're ready to believe or what they're willing to believe. But I, as a child, I've seen a ghost. Um, as a grown up, I've seen ghosts, and I believe they're spirits. I believe they're spirits, and um, yeah, and I believe because I know it's someone who shouldn't be where I'm at, and I had no idea they'd passed away, and they were there, and then I got news that they had passed away. Um, I'm wondering, like, oh, what are you doing here? And then I turn around and they're not there. And I know I'm not crazy. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And, like I said, people will believe what they're ready to believe. So you don't, and no one needs to convince anyone of anything. I believe.
I knew I liked you, Sandra. No, I don't do drugs or nothing like that either. I know what I look like. You people out there, get those dirty thoughts out of your head. But yeah, I've seen stuff, I've heard stuff, I've had very strange dreams about things that were like premonition type
Oh, yeah.
dreams that were very odd, and then certain things would come true. Um, I've had dreams of people who, like you were talking about, in terms of people passed away and things like that, and then shortly that would come to pass, and just out of the blue, completely not like someone who, they've been sick or whatever it
No,
is, and
exactly. Yep, yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we need to do another show entirely for this, but I've had, I think, plenty enough experiences where it when I have dreams or when I get feelings, or when I think, when stuff pops up in my head, it kind of scares me because I am hoping that it's not, a real thing. I'm hoping that moment I'm like, I accidentally had alcohol or something. But no, I think that I've had too many experiences that, uh, yeah, that
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Too many of them that feel like the only explanation you could possibly think of is the unexplainable.
it's, yeah, it's,
And there must be some kind of explanation, but it's like everything else I look at with that realm of it. When we're talking about the metaphysical,
mhm.
it's just that's science that we just don't know how to quantify just yet. The way
Yeah,
that 200, 300, 500 years ago they would look at half the stuff we look at today and go, even us talking right now, it's some kind of witchcraft.
it is
You
totally
know,
witchcraft, exactly. And I mean, how am I sitting here looking at myself? That's insane.
this is the stuff from science fiction. But
Yeah,
now it is reality.
yeah. Like I said, it's, I don't know. It could be another show like another
We'll
session
we'll
entirely.
have to
But
do that then.
yeah, it's just we're a lot more connected than people are allow themselves to believe, I think. So
I agree. 100%. And World at War, this is the new time slot. So 10 o'clock Eastern. It's an hour later. Before it was 9 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Eastern instead.
Oh,
But yeah, it enables me to get some more done because a lot of the time I wanted to get stuff done after the show. I got a lot of orders to pack and other things to do. And sometimes the shows would end like around this time,
yeah.
going 2 hours or so instead. And I'm like, I'm tired.
Are you East Coast time too, or?
Yeah, I'm in New Hampshire.
Oh, I was in New Hampshire.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
We just missed each other?
Lake Winnipesaukee.
Oh, wow. Beautiful area. Yeah, I'm more like southern New Hampshire.
Where's southern New Hampshire?
Yeah, around Exeter.
Exeter. My sister-in-law is in Durham.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, very close.
Yeah, I looked at a house in Exeter, actually.
Where are you now?
I'm now in Florida.
Oh, okay. So you're still East Coast, but man, that explains me dressed like this and you dressed like that.
Yeah. Yes. I used to dress like that a lot. Actually, a few more layers.
Yeah, they hand you this stuff right at the border. You cross, and it's like, here's your flannel shirt and your beanie. You're gonna need them.
Yeah, once you move into a house, and once you establish residency, it comes with your residence. So yeah.
Exactly. It's just right there, waiting for you.
And it's still beautiful. I mean, we were there for almost 10 years, from San Diego to New Hampshire and now to Florida. But yeah, it's beautiful. You're right, Lake Winnipesaukee. It's beautiful. It's great. But yeah.
Wow, very nice. Hey, small world. Look at that.
Yeah, very small world.
But man, thank you so much, Sandra, for being on here tonight. Everybody, thank you guys as well for your questions, your comments in the chat. Really appreciate it. Agent Cub, Sandra had talked extensively about that earlier in the show. If you want to go back and catch the replay, this will be up. You can catch that in terms of traditionally working digitally, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. But, go back and watch the whole thing.
Absolutely, it was great. Wonderful. We'll have to do this again, especially if we're gonna do I'd love to do a whole paranormal show because I love all of it. Yeah. All of it. To me, it's not even like I feel weird even saying the word paranormal because to me it's just
people immediately judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to like quantify it like that for people sometimes so they understand, what you're talking about. But whether or not I believe that it's, out of the realm of the normal and the possible, absolutely not. It's just as normal as this, as normal as anything.
And I think we all believe at different levels. So maybe some people aren't quite there yet. But if you have enough experiences, or if you're open, enough to experiences, then you're like, oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Sandra, thank you so much. Before we go, where can they find you, and where would you want to send them to learn more or anything else about what you're doing?
I have a YouTube channel that I said I would be a little more active on. I would post more videos now. I am also on Instagram and Twitter, which, I think it's hard for people to find accounts these days. But I have my YouTube channel is Sandra Ink Monkey Hope, I believe. There should be some videos up on inking, and it's just me sharing a little bit and just, like I said, trying to be, a little bit more social because all us freelancers, we work at home. But I do get a lot of questions on like Instagram and Twitter that I'm not always able to answer. So I'm trying to post short videos where I address, those questions or, curiosities. So yeah. You can come and find me, guys.
I've got your YouTube in the description of the show, and Metatron just put it there too, so you guys can go and sub to that.
Yep.
Some good inking tutorials on there too. You can learn a thing or two.
I am Ink Monkey Hope on Twitter and Instagram. I don't think I mentioned those addresses, but yeah, it's Ink Monkey Hope.
There you go.
Yep.
And also, as far as this goes, guys, this was your first live stream, right?
It is. I did a recorded one at Ink Pulp, but this is the first live stream, and like I said, we're just having fun and me trying to
You're
get
a
more.
natural, kid.
Thank
I see
you.
big things for you.
Woo!
Big things in the
Exciting.
live stream realm. Give it a
Thank you
shot.
for all the questions and all the people who chimed in. Next time, don't be so shy. So, yeah, ask away.
There you go. And hopefully we see some more live streams. We're definitely going to see at least another, because I'm definitely going to have Sandra back on. Maybe in a month or two. We'll space it out, give her a little bit of time to, get the paranormal stuff ruminating,
Yeah, yeah.
and then we'll have that good discussion.
Hope will
But
return.
exactly. All right, everybody, have a wonderful evening. Sandra, thank you so much once again, especially
You.
for being so generous with your time and also for the conversation. Much appreciated.
Thank you
Uh,
very much.
absolutely, anytime. And everybody, have a great night and an even better tomorrow. See you
Yeah.
guys soon.